Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the sales and things going on with eBay. Now, before we go into it, it's the week of Halloween. So if you're having sales issues right this moment, this is a typical thing that happens around Halloween every single year. So don't panic over anything going on this week. Most people are out doing activities for their children. They have kids events and things like that, family events. There's local attractions and things that many people go to for Halloween. So not nearly as many people are on searching the net at this time of year. It's happened every year for at least the last 9 or 10 years because we've tracked it every year. And every year on this week, the week of Halloween, and even a few days before this week starts, these type of issues do go on. It does change once you go into November. So let's hop on to another topic here. I've received many messages, including some personal ones, about folks who took out business loans to make fourth quarter their busiest quarter ever. They had good sales coming up until October, until all these issues started happening, and then all of a sudden they have tanked, and now they are worried about their payments due and the fees and such forth because they haven't been able to do anything. There's been almost 3 straight weeks of glitches ever since eBay rolled out some of these new updates to the system. I don't know what's going on with eBay. I'm not going to speak for them. I don't get paid a dime from eBay. I don't have any personal relations going on with eBay. In fact, I had a video conference with eBay. They were supposed to be back in touch with me. I haven't heard a word. So just to tell you, I don't converse. This has nothing to do or any contacts with eBay. But the point of this, though, is there is something going on with eBay. We all know the massive amounts of glitches going on. There's glitches on buyers getting paid. There's other glitches coming from PayPal, whether they're eBay related or not. I have not a clue, that are saying people can't pay for items. They can't check out for items in their box. It only takes a couple times like this for people to go away from the platform because they're frustrated with it. That goes for sellers, that goes for buyers. Now, eBay reported last week with the financials that they have more buyers than ever, but that their sales are less than they have been the prior year. So more buyers means nothing to me. What counts to the platform is that they have less actual sales on the platform, and they are projecting even less for fourth quarter. The conversation last week, too, never addressed anything going on with any glitches or anything else. So as far as Wall Street's concerned and all the people making money off of the stocks and such forth from eBay, they don't know, they don't have a clue, they don't care apparently what's really going on with the platform. So my take on this would be to hold out to next month and see what's going on for next month. Again, this week is almost always slow. It's a drastic drop for most people because of the holiday. If you're selling Halloween stuff now, chances are those aren't selling very well either, unless they're collectibles or something unique, because Halloween items were bought weeks ago by most people who are buying these. They buy them ahead of time. So you're not getting an influx of Halloween sales. Now we're moving into Thanksgiving and Christmas. Again, this week will be slow, so don't panic over this week. And even last week could be a little slower, depending on what you're selling. So don't use these as a bellwether for what's going to happen to your store. Overall, though, there is some discrepancies and things going on. I have personally done searches and haven't been able to find some items. We actually had a little dip in sales since the 12th of October, just like many people over all these changes they are doing. I would say that there is definitely something going on with Cassini and what they've got set up. Maybe it's throttling people who are not used promoted sales or what. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist when it comes to eBay at all, so I don't think they're gating people and turning things on and off for anybody. Your listings may not be relevant depending on the situation, the search term that's coming up, but I don't see as eBay would have anything whatsoever to gain. Again, I don't get a dime from eBay. I'm not saying this out of disrespect for those who are having issues or respect for eBay. It's just the facts. It wouldn't make any sense for somebody to cut off sales. You know, again, I know there's issues. There's things such as when somebody's going to check out, they're shown an item just like they're going to check out with, but it's less from somebody else. I have seen that. And I've also seen on my own pages them posting links for other items that are a little cheaper than mine on my own listing. These are all issues that seem to be cropping up everywhere. I don't have an answer for what's going on with eBay. I don't think eBay has an answer. It's status quo. Even with the fill-in temporary CEO, it's the same thing that I see going on. There's no changes. Now read what eBay said if you're interested in hearing their statement. And as I said, there was no reference to any kind of glitches whatsoever in any of the financial discussions that I saw or read. We all know it's affecting many people. Every Reddit board, everywhere I have seen, even all of the boards on eBay are all talking about people. And these are people who've been on eBay for 20 years, length of time as I've been on, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. These are all veterans telling me the same thing and posting on all of these Reddit boards that I read and all of the other talk boards and chat boards that I do look at, including eBay's own, that there's definitely something going on. There are too many. The majority, 75% of the people who have contacted me all say the same thing. They have issues with their sales that have never happened before in years, decades, even several decades of selling. We had to do some things that we normally would never do in fourth quarter just to make sure the sales weren't lagging down behind. Now, our sales are fine once we did some adjustments to them. Of course, we do now send out best offers. I never had to do that before. We also send out markdowns and sales promotions and things along that line also. Now, I won't do promoted listings anymore at all. I'm soured on what they did and how they proceeded. Now, with what eBay did in removing either the promoted or the organic listing and only showing one, that's something that they would have never went for if Google did that to them. If you do a Google search, you'll see the same basic thing. You'll see sponsored and then the actual one below it also. That's just the way it works on even Google or any of the search results. So if, say, Google only showed the promoted or the organic one, eBay would have an issue with that. I guarantee it. So it just tells me that they don't respect us as a seller. We're a number. We're a financial figure to them. They're only worried about buying back stock. Again, they are buying back $4 billion. They've already bought back over $1 billion worth of stock, which inflates their interest, their money that they are making for everybody who has stock. It doesn't help us at all. Now, that takes money away from fixing the platform and things. These are temporary fixes. These are things that won't help us. It won't help the platform. So if they've got more people on the site, they're selling less items, and their only way to gain revenue and increase revenue is to hit us with more fees through promoted listings, it's not a sustainable model. It will not last forever. They'll price everybody out. People will move to other platforms, especially when it's going on weeks for some of these technical issues to be addressed. So I know they finally fixed or partially fixed the sales data on the hub. Again, it could happen at any time. I constantly now have a statement that says these numbers may be off due to technical issues. Constantly. It's up there 24/7 now. I have to assume that there's some other technical glitch that could be deterring what shows up for people and what is actually promoted at the top. Not as a promoted, but as a just a normal search. The search results I don't feel are showing what they should show. I've looked for many items and it doesn't show them at all. Even items that I would say buy, like tape or something like that. It's skewed. If you're looking for like specifics and trying to research things and stuff like that, you're going to get all kinds of stuff that just aren't relevant. And if somebody wants to pay a ton of money, their sponsored listing will show up at the very top, even if it's not relevant at all to what you're looking for. The suggestion notes they send me are usually not relevant in any way, shape, or form. It's all of these issues. eBay has also been allowing some of these loans for fourth quarter to go through the platform. And if you can't keep the sales going on and you're going to hit them with glitches after they've taken out a loan, that's just terrible in my book. So I don't know what the answer is. I've said it before, though, that we are on multiple platforms. Now, you just have to be ready for whatever happens. Now, I have a BOP to cover myself. If eBay goes down, there's platform issues or technical issues, I will still get a paycheck. I will just file with my insurance company, which covers these technical issues. There's many ways to cover yourself. There's other things to consider. What happens if you can't source anymore? What happens if your thrift stores are going under? What happens if garage sales die off? There's so many what ifs that you got to take care of and think about when you're doing this. This isn't going to be an easy ride going forward for everybody. Some people will have these increases in sales. We have an increase in sale. We were down, but we had to do some things to fix it. You're going to have to dig in if your sales are still down going into November, because they should be picking up, or at least at the same level they were last month, if not last year. But the majority of people who have left posts or comments or contacted me, messaged me, Instagram me, are all saying the same thing. The majority of them are having sales issues, even again for items that are great. I don't know whether it's lack of paying for advertisement or promotions on Google to get these items pushed up and ranked. I don't know what the issue is, but there's definitely something going on that I can say. Whether it's a technical issue that's unintended or not, there is something going on. I've just been overwhelmed with the same comments over and over and over and over again. Ever since the beginning weeks of October, I've gotten nothing but comments about sales being down. Now again, my sales aren't down at this point, and I do know others who aren't, but they are constantly flooding new items onto the market as we are, and not worrying about that. We are also broadcasting, and I'm doing more items on more sites than I ever have before. eBay has become less of my business than it has ever in the past before as well. So we are covering our bases and expanding out across other platforms. There's just too much competition, too many other sellers, too many other platforms to be stagnant on one site. So as your eBay sales go down, you may be able to get more sales somewhere else on another platform. Don't rely on one specific platform. The same goes for one specific sourcing venue. You have to have multiple sourcing areas. You can't just rely on garage sales. You can't just rely on thrift stores anymore at all. There's auctions and vintage items and things that you can move into. There's many other categories. There's wholesale. There's retail arbitrage. All of those models can work for you. There's even forms of drop shipping which are legitimate and allowed. You just have to know which are correct, which are the legitimate ways to go about this. There's many avenues you can look into, including creating your own brands, having your own website and such forth, but don't sit in a stagnant spot and not do anything about it, hoping for it to fix itself. So if it's just a one-person business or even a couple people running it, you all have to dig into it to figure out what's going on. We have taken steps that we normally don't take this time of year. Anything is game when it comes to keeping your sales coming in. Whether you mark down stuff when you normally wouldn't, whether you try running some auctions to see if you have different results, whatever the case may be, you're going to have to move things around and try it. For the last 9 years plus, we have been rocking by the second week in November. So if things aren't changing and going in that direction, you better look into what's going on. Checking your items, good photos, good titles, checking your keywords. All of these things can affect your store. Having better items. Don't just go into flooded categories and hope to sell them. Don't just put those flooded items on just one specific spot. Put them on other platforms. One thing to consider, though, there are listing fees on other platforms. There are third-party apps that will cross-list these, so you don't have to worry about taking them down, and you're going to have to pay for those as well. So you do have to spend a little more money to do that route. If you don't have good items, though, to start with, I wouldn't recommend that until you've fixed what you're selling to improve the quality of your items and your store in general. This is just the basics on here. So again, there is something going on. I have to say, I can't see it any other way. Whether it be intentional or not, it is an issue with many people. The majority of sellers I have talked to have similar issues. And what I've said a couple times now already is they have more people buying, they say, but less items being sold. That scares me. They have no way to bring in buyers is my issue. They have to have buyers. I don't care how many people are registering for a site. I care how much are they advertising, how much are they pushing, how many people are actually buying. No, I know Amazon will be brought up when we discuss this, but I sell on Amazon. My sales are not down on Amazon. I know Amazon lowered their expectations, but again, they're investing billions into one-day shipping. So they have a reason to have a decline in profit margins. They are still up, though. That is the point. They are up. They are predicting more increased buyers, more increased sales. So it's not like eBay. They're two different things. Amazon is not eBay, and eBay should not try to be Amazon. They did so well when they were just what they were, a secondhand garage sale online that sold all kinds of neat and curious items. That's when they succeeded. Now it just seems they want to nickel and dime everybody to increase their revenue. They're not increasing sales, they're increasing revenue through things like promoted listings. It's not the way to go, and is not sustainable to keep increasing fees without increasing the amount of items selling. What is my incentive to go onto a platform that isn't selling more items? Again, I love eBay and I still think it's a great platform, but there is something going on that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed very quickly for people, especially for those that I've talked to that have these loans out. If you can't make your ends meet because you have even more debt coming onto your company because eBay sales aren't coming through, you got to look into this. Something has to be done. Well, that's my rant for today. Hopefully that gave you some thought on this. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.